Greetings viewers and welcome back to the review program. From November 11 to 22nd, the capital of Azerbaijan, Baku, hosted the 29th session of the Conference of the Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Uzbekistan's delegation has also participated in this global event with its incredible pavilion. In this episode, we are going to analyze the events held within COP29 with a particular focus on Uzbekistan and its outcomes. Before we dive deeper into the events within COP29, let's first define COP. COP stands for Conference of the Parties, which is the governing body of an international treaty or convention. The term is most commonly associated with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, where the COP converts annually to assess global processes, negotiate and adopt decisions on combating climate change. The UNFCCC COP was established in 1995 with its first session COP First held in Berlin, Germany. The UNFCCC itself was adopted at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in 1992 and entered into force on March 21, 1994. The member states include countries that have ratified the treaty or convention of the COP overseas. The COP has 198 parties, including 197 countries and the European Union, making it one of the most unified ratified treaties globally. Member states are obligated to report progress on the climate action through national determined contributions, participate in the negotiations on the global climate goals, commit to mitigation, adaptation, and financing efforts in line with the Paris Agreement and other COP outcomes. The COP meetings are platforms for the negotiation and collaboration between member states, non-governmental organizations, and experts to advance the goals of the respective conventions. The purpose is to assess progress in addressing global issues such as climate change or biodiversity loss, to negotiate and adopt decision agreements and policies to ensure the compliance with the international commitments. The 29th session of the Conference of the Parties under the UNFCCC was held in Azerbaijan's capital from November 11 to 22nd. The focus was on global strategies for addressing climate change. Uzbekistan's delegation, led by the Minister of Ecology, Environmental Protection and Climate Change, Aziz Abduhakimov, also participated in this global event. Uzbekistan participated in COP29 with its incredible pavilion Hovle. The pavilion represented traditional values and approaches shaped by the country's unique culture, history and nature. The architectural concept of Uzbek pavilion is based on the traditional Uzbek Hovle courtyard, which is the heart of every home, where every morning begins with the care and warmth. This central family life, framed by the greenery and vines, symbolizes the harmonious coexistence of man and nature. The pavilion was built using sustainable traditional Uzbek materials and ancient techniques. techniques, time-tested and adapted to the country's climate. Our team was at the spotlight of the event, so we have reviewed the pavilion and the features that it presented. Right now we are standing next to the Uzbekistan's pavilion, which this year chose to be more traditional and present its pavilion in a format of hovle. Now let's go inside and see what does it present. This is the visual representation of the hovle. As you can see behind me, there are images that show how families, the Uzbek traditional families, gather together with the family members and have dinner or lunch together. Even the fruits at this pavilion have the indicators of COP29, which is significant attention to the details. One significant aspect of the pavilion is that all the materials, all the equipment and the leaves, for example, and the pepper that have been placed on the walls are all natural, it's not fake. A separate attention has been made to the Aral Sea region. The separate room has been made here to showcase the materials brought right from the region itself, for example, the soil that was brought from the bottom of the sea, and as well as the drinking water from the sea. This allows the visitors to see the real materials, to feel them and observe them. This is Suzanne, a traditional material made by the cross hand. As you can see, it represents the beauty of nature of Uzbekistan. It has birds, famous anor from Uzbekistan, and the trees. This really showcases the beauty and the history of Uzbek culture. The pavilion catch the attention of numerous visitors and impressed every participant with its unique representation and ways it has addressed climate issues. We have talked to some of the visitors and distinguished guests who shared their vision and impressions on the pavilion itself. Did you have opportunity to walk around the pavilion of Uzbekistan?
Yes, it's gorgeous. We were treated to some of the delicacies and got to connect with some of the youth focal points, which is a key part of our mission here.
Particularly also I see that you have some soil samples from the bottom of the sea. I don't know whether you're doing mining, deep sea mining, and that's something that we're also considering for the African continent as a solution that might be very useful. We also have a number of projects that we're working on that might require collaboration. So I was excited by it, I was drawn in, and I decided to come figure out what it is that is happening here.
It's really beautiful, yes. It's one of the most beautiful that I have seen.
What did you like most about our pavilion?
The smile in the people, all the colors of the showcasing of everything that you're doing there, it's really impressive.
Here we are now in the pavilion of Uzbekistan, which is very capacious, but at the same time, everything is shown, not only environmental problems in Uzbekistan, but also problems of a global scale. You can see how the pavilion itself is decorated. I would like to note that this adobe walls resemble our Central Asian Fergana valleys. Well, inside, of course, there are also issues, problems of a different nature that affect climate change. I hope that as a result of this COP29, a decision will be made, including improving climate change against these catastrophes.
I think this pavilion is one of the top pavilions. The pavilion of Uzbekistan here is in COP29. I think it's an opportunity for many people to come and visit. I encourage them to come and visit. It's not only about energy. I think there's a lot about the culture and the arts of Uzbekistan as well, which I enjoyed myself.
This pavilion is a huge opportunity to know the culture of Uzbekistan, and COP is a huge opportunity to meet other cultures and to know what's happening around the world. And it's so interesting to see how the culture works here, how Uzbekistan valorize the family, how Uzbekistan valorize his own culture. So it's a huge opportunity to know each other. I'm from Brazil and are so far from there, and it's a great opportunity to know all these culture that has been here.
The construction, what you have done here with this pavilion is outstanding. I've looked at many other pavilions. This is perhaps the best pavilion in the entire conference.
Along with numerous impressions, the phase of work at the pavilion was productive and very active. As part of the conference, Uzbek Pavilion hosted a number of bilateral meetings. The distinguished guests of the pavilion and the representatives of the international organization shared their views on the cooperation with Uzbekistan and its efforts towards green transition.
COP29'da
This is the first time that I have a contact with the
Sadly, Uzbekistan is home to one of the world's worst environmental tragedies in Central Asia, of course, and that's the disappearance and the drying up of the Aral Sea. But instead of standing and simply asking for help, Uzbekistan, under the leadership of the president, under the leadership of Minister Abdu Hakimov, is really thinking about how do we change the trajectory. And that's something at the World Bank we're really excited to work with Uzbekistan to learn from, so we can take that contagion of good ideas and give to other countries.
The agenda also included the meetings with the representatives of the Norwegian Minister of Foreign Affairs and Asian Development Bank.
I think we share the same challenges of how to produce more food without damaging the environment and without damaging biodiversity. And this is why I'm here for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Norway, because we are one of the co-chairs of an alliance of champions for food systems transformation, where we are encouraging countries to do exactly what I was told that Uzbekistan is trying to do now, to grow more food without undermining the nature.
We just discussed with Minister Jurbek many other areas of collaboration. I think it's very important as the country integrates even more with its neighbors, and they can, of course, build up not only friendly relationship, but also energy sharing opportunities. So with this, I think ADB will continue its partnership, and we hope to, of course, continue playing a role in helping the government in its objective to transition the country and the economy toward more green aspects of it.
For some foreign delegates, Uzbekistan was a new destination for opening up different areas of cooperation.
That's what I was asked by the minister, and I really love it. It doesn't even look like a pavilion, it looks a real office, like the traditional one, Yes, he did it very nice. I like it. All the hospitalities and everything is fine. It was my first time to hear about your country from the minister, and then I was impressed. I was not expecting this way. I mean, it's beyond my expectation, and I really appreciate that. And you guys, as a country, you are working very well.
As part of these bilateral meetings, an important document was signed between Uzbekistan and UAE's Masdar company. The Ministry of Energy in Uzbekistan and Masdar from the United Arab Emirates signed a contract on the project to build a 1,000 megawatt wind power plant in the Uchkuduk district of Navai region. The project will generate 3.5 billion kilowatts of electricity annually, which will save 1 billion cubic meters of natural gas.
The construction of this power plant will create 600 to 800 new jobs. Thanks to the construction of this wind power plant, emissions into the atmosphere will be reduced by 1.4 million tons per year. This wind farm is the next stage of the cooperation with Masdar, providing Uzbekistan with the opportunity to improve energy security, create new jobs, and promote economic growth.
What really matters is action. And what Uzbekistan has proven to people like us at Masdar is Uzbekistan is open for business and it's full of action. So we are another milestone in our relationship, We know we have been in Uzbekistan since the early times, and we are proud to develop more. But like I always say, the most important asset is the Uzbek people, who we proud to have across all of our operations and business in Uzbekistan.
In line with the United Arab Emirates Triple Renewable Energy Capacity Initiative, Uzbekistan joins global efforts to combat climate change and support the goals of the Paris Agreement to enhance global cooperation on renewable energy and reduce emissions.
One of the significant events that was held on the margins of COP29 at the Uzbek Pavilion was the first meeting of Environment and Ecology Ministers of Organization of Turkic States. The ministers discussed future opportunities and proposals for strengthening environmental cooperation within the organization. Additional information was shared about the commitments of the member states of the Turkic Council regarding climate action and sustainability. At the end of the meeting, the declaration of the first meeting of the ministers responsible for environment and ecology of the Turkic Council was signed. The work of Uzbekistan's delegation was followed up with other numerous events. These included meeting on land degradation and climate change and a conference on education as adaptation and a mission, new approach to environmental education. On the margins of COP29, the environment ministers from Azerbaijan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan met to discuss climate issues. The ministers reaffirmed their commitment to the UN resolution designating 2025 as the International Year of Glacier Preservation. Following the event, they signed a declaration on the climate change, glacier preservation, and transboundary cooperation for Central and West Asia. During the COP29, we have talked with the hydrologist of German Research Center on Uzbekistan's role at COP29 and how he visions the outcomes of the conference for the country. In your opinion, what role does Uzbekistan play in this conference so far?
Thank you very much for the question. Uzbekistan is a big country in Central Asia, and climate change is also happening in Uzbekistan. We know this. This is actually the climate change or temperature warming in Uzbekistan is higher than the global average. Therefore, Uzbekistan should be part of these meetings, and our president has initiated several recommendations for the next time. And these are very important ones, and therefore Uzbekistan, as a big country in Central Asia, is playing a big role actually in this COP29 with different recommendations.
What particular initiative would you highlight from the President's speech on the conference?
Yeah, well, there were very useful recommendations. I can highlight the one which is related to water resources and climate change impact. Regarding the climate change impact, the President suggested that there should be a further cooperation with international organizations, international financial organizations, as well as developed countries in the world to assess the negative impacts of climate change in Central Asia. Because Central Asia, we love the region, we love Uzbekistan, but still there is a lack of knowledge on assessing the impacts, negative impacts of climate change. And therefore, the recommendation of the President to emphasize on this in the next time is very important. The other recommendation that is related to water resources is related to Aral Sea Basin. We know that Aral Sea has lost its area by about 90% in the last 50, 60 years. And therefore, President was suggesting that we need to consider these negative changes as an example for the future. I highly support this idea as a scientist, because Aral Sea was a negative example not only for Central Asia, not only for Uzbekistan, but the entire globe. So therefore, we can take this example to the globe, to meetings such as United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP, to increase the awareness of other countries and population on how to behave with nature. Because if we behave with nature as we like, then the nature might also behave as it likes. Then it has a lot of negative impacts. So that's why we need to really understand what the natural processes are, and consider them and assess the negative impacts, and then adapt to climate change in the future.
We are observing a number of representatives of different international organizations who come here for the first time and have never heard about Uzbekistan, in fact, and they come here and want to talk with the Ministry of Ecology and initiate new projects. Based on your observations, what do you think are the popular areas of cooperation that the foreigners consider here?
Uzbekistan has become a very interesting country for the entire globe, I would say, because we live in Europe. And we feel this. We see this day by day. Whenever we talk about Uzbekistan, people are opening eyes, or Uzbekistan, there is something new. This is a great development. The international institutions, international organizations, or also people from other countries, they are interested in Uzbekistan because, as you see in this pavilion, Uzbekistan pavilion was built based on the historic type of structural building, which is actually also, I think, very climate beneficial, I would say, because you can compare, for example, the construction with beton and construction with this soil type construction. And if you assess the impacts of these both types of construction to climate change, you will see that the historic type of building structure is very much beneficial for climate. So people are just coming to Uzbekistan pavilion to see what Uzbekistan is and how Uzbekistan is, and I highly welcome this idea of bringing the historical tradition of Uzbekistan to such a high-level meeting, COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan.
Do you observe any challenges or obstacle on the way of combating climate change that should be addressed?
I would say sustainability. Sustainability is very important in combating climate change because a few years ago I was observing the implementation of new technologies in using water resources, especially in the example of Uzbekistan. For example, drip irrigation, water-saving technologies. But these kind of implementation strategies, they should be sustainable. They should not last 2-3 years. They should last for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 50 years. And this requires a better strategy. This requires educational capacity development of farmers. There has been some initiatives, but I don't see sustainability currently. I would say this is something that we should still consider in Uzbekistan to cope with climate change in the region.
Last but not least, there are some experts and people who say that usually these kind of conferences don't bring the practical outcomes. Do you believe that COP29 has some practical outcomes at the end, or do you think this is the waste of time?
No, this is of course not the waste of time. This is highly useful because we don't see the impact of such kind of conferences tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. We will see this impact after 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Because during this meeting, all the presidents are here and the scientists are here, we are here. So we negotiate with them, we discuss with them, we talk to them and explain the changes happening in Uzbekistan or also in Central Asia. Without this kind of meetings, we don't come together. We don't have a platform. So this is a great platform to express our opinion and then adapt to climate change all together. I can give one example. The interview I'm giving to you will also have positive impact because I'm bringing my knowledge and expressing to mass media. Of course, you will stream it, and in Uzbekistan, maybe also president or also ministers, they will hear this. I don't say that I know everything, but what I want to say is that there is a communication platform. Without this meeting, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have given you an interview. Maybe there was not some kind of useful information for population in Uzbekistan who will watch your TV.
As you can see, the work and outcomes for Uzbekistan at this global conference were so fruitful that it's not possible for us to fit in everything that has been going there just in one program. So we will end our analysis here. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching this program, and see you in the next episodes.
2025 targets increase.
Our exchange today is therefore driven by focusing sufficient
economy
of climate change.
Agriculture, greenhouse policy.
Apologies.
No
I think we
And so causing less
В Узбекистане повестка в области зеленого направления очень сильно развивается, набирает обороты.